I'm 180 pounds, and here are nutrition cheat codes that I wish I knew at 240 pounds. Number one, plan 1 to 2 snacks daily into your calorie deficit. Growing up, I used to think snacking was a bad thing because I would come home, I would eat an entire bag of barbecue Lay's chips, family size bag. So of course, I would associate snacking as a bad thing, when in reality, you can leverage it for weight loss, and I actually would highly encourage you to start planning 1 to 2 snacks into your diet and make sure these snacks are pushing the needle forward. So a good snack is going to be something that keeps you a little satisfied. For me, I like the Chobani or Oikos yogurt cups. Number 2, dehydration tanks cravings. Think about it like this. If you were to be outside on a hot day, you come back in and you chug an entire bottle of water, your stomach is going to hurt. Why? Because water is taking up volume within your stomach. Now, imagine if you were to space that water out throughout the day, you are going to be more full because water is going to take up volume. All you need to do is grab a water bottle and carry it around with you everywhere, and make sure that you are drinking before and after doing things throughout the day. If you want, you can make some sort of rule of how many of these you need to drink throughout the day. Or some people even like their electrolytes within their water because it encourages them to drink more because there's some flavor. Number 3, this one is so easy. Start walking after meals. Not only is this going to start racking up your steps throughout the day, especially if you have some sort of step goal, it's going to start increasing the amount of calories that you're burning on a daily basis, but walking after meals is going to help with digestion, especially if you are someone who is going to or eating soon before bed. This is going to help improve your sleep. If you are digesting most of that food or a good chunk of that food before bed, your body now will focus on going to bed and getting quality sleep instead of focusing a lot on digesting that food. Which leads me into number 4, don't eat before bed. Obviously, we live in a world where this is not always possible, but so try to reduce the amount of time that you can as much as possible to eat before bed. I get home late, so a lot of times I'm eating at 7 o'clock at night. I'm not the best example of this, but like I said prior, digestion is going to greatly affect your quality of sleep. Your body will focus on digesting food, and on top of that, it raises your body temperature when your body's digesting food, and a lot of times when you need to go to bed, your body needs to lower its body temperature to get a better quality of sleep. So I'm not saying you have to be eating 3 hours or 5 hours before bedtime. What I am saying is be a little bit more deliberate and start pushing back that time a little bit. Number 5, eat high protein foods. High protein foods have been proven by science over and over again to be some of the most effective foods for losing fat. Why? Because protein takes your body much longer to digest. So when this happens, your brain is basically sending a signal, or your stomach is sending a signal to your brain saying that I am full. What happens when you start to be more full throughout the day? You are so much less likely to have cravings. You're so much less likely to overeat. Number 6, eat high fiber foods. Just like protein, high fiber foods take your body much longer to digest. Once again, when it takes your body much longer to digest, it sends a signal to your brain saying, I am full. So start including these foods into your diet. Start aiming for roughly 20 to 30 grams of fiber every single day. A lot of these foods are going to be things such as fruits, vegetables, nuts and seeds, things that are already healthy for you. Number 7, healthy food doesn't equal fat loss. Most people mix this up all the time. They think just because I'm eating healthy, why am I not losing fat? When in reality, a lot of the healthy foods that you are having doesn't always mean it is a good weight loss food. For example, olive oil is extremely high in calories because it is very high in fat, making it extremely calorically dense. So what you should start doing is pay attention to the amount that you are having. Use the Pam spray when you're using a pan. Stop trying to put tons and tons of olive oil all over a salad or olive oil all over a pan when you're thinking you're eating healthy, when in reality you're racking up a bunch of calories. Another one is peanut butter. Peanut butter is high in fat, which makes it high in calories. Nuts and seeds, things like this. So although these are healthy foods, it doesn't make them always the best weight loss foods. You have to find foods that are good to be eating within a calorie deficit, because being in a calorie deficit is the only way that you are going to be losing fat off your body. And I've made a whole free mini course on how you can lose fat by using a calorie deficit. You can just click the link in the description to access that below. Number 8, Eat a high protein breakfast. Most people barely eat anything at all for breakfast. They have just coffee and something super light like a granola bar. They have nothing at all. When in reality, if you were to start including more calories for breakfast and making that a high protein breakfast, you would have so much less cravings at night. If you don't believe me, please try this. Most people are having tons of cravings by the time that dinner rolls around, or they eat way more for dinner than they should have. If they would have just had a higher protein breakfast, this would have made sure that their cravings would have been extended longer. They would have felt more full throughout the day, and they wouldn't have overconsumed. Number 9, don't drink your calories. I'm talking about alcohol, which is literally almost double the amount of calories per gram as carbs and protein are. I'm talking about drinking a pop, not a soda, a pop. I'm talking about the creamer that you're putting in your coffee. Not saying you can't have it, just start choosing lower options. Please start paying attention to the liquid calories that you are having. These are not making you full, and they will rack up calories way quicker than you think. Seriously, compare something that's a couple hundred calories of a liquid compared to something that's a couple hundred calories of food. Which one do you think is going to make you more full? Start opting for the low calorie and 0 calorie swap options. So instead of the Coke, go for the Coke Zero. Instead of the high fat coffee creamer, go for the low fat option. Which leads me into number 10, use low calorie swaps. This is one of the easiest things that you can be doing. One of the things that I do for breakfast, instead of having only whole eggs, I will include half whole eggs and half egg whites because most of the calories are going to be in the whole egg. I already mentioned to you using a coffee creamer that is going to be lower in calories. You can start opting for milk that is going to be lower in calories. Go for the sauces, the condiments that are going to be much lower in calories. These things will rack up. You could even go so far to have your sweets that you like and find a lower calorie option. I'm not saying you have to do that, but you can do things like finding a lower calorie ice cream. Food has gotten so good now to the point that there are so many options that are much more weight loss friendly. Number 11, drink water before meals. I have a great example of this that happened to me last night. I was having a recipe that my fiance made called Thai basil beef. And as I'm eating this, my mouth was on fire. The peppers that were in it, or the jalapenos that were in it, was extremely hot. So what I started to do, even though people don't tell you to do this, I don't know why. It actually doesn't really burn my mouth much more. But I took my water, put ice in it, and I would drink a ton during bites to cool my mouth down. And what I started to notice is extremely interesting. I became so much more full by the time that I wanted to go get a second plate. I grabbed a second plate, put it down, and I didn't even want to eat it anymore. And I'm the type of person that eats a ton and has problems with even stopping myself from eating. So start drinking water before meals, in between meals, after meals, and I guarantee you're gonna be shocked by how much more full you're gonna be, and the amount of food is gonna be greatly reduced that you end up eating. And it's gonna be so much easier to control your cravings and your overeating. It sounds so simple, but please try it. Number 12, use a bowl. Stop grabbing a box, a bag, sitting in front of some sort of show and mindlessly just eating. You're gonna get halfway through, be like, oh, I should have a little bit more, continue to eat more and more, and you get down close to the bottom and I'll be like, at this point, I'm just gonna finish it. Take the box, put a bowl on a weighing scale, dump the chips into the bowl, and weigh out a portion size. You are causing more barriers for you to now want to pour yourself another bowl, which has to make another thought process of, oh, should I do another bowl? So it's gonna reduce the likelihood that you end up eating way more. And I know you're smart. So when you sit there and now you have to think about another portion size, you have to think about that food, your chances of success are so much higher now. I know you hear this a million times, but start measuring them out. Number 13, start having a default meal. There are going to be times when you get home from a long, exhausting day of work, you get home from maybe something that's pissed you off throughout the day, you just are like in an emotional mood, and the last thing you want to do is make some sort of meal. So that what you end up doing is maybe you order DoorDash, or you start snacking on a food that you know you probably shouldn't have. Have that default meal in moments like this. Maybe you run out of groceries during this time. Have that default meal. So what you can do is this meal should be something that is easy to make and it's going to be quick. So when now you may have that moment where you're emotional, have the default meal, and then if you really want that snack after, then let yourself have it. But I would bet you won't want it anymore. A great example of one that I like to do is I take a flavored protein yogurt, I take granola, berries, and you could drizzle some honey on it if you want. And this is a quick default meal for me, and it keeps me full. And when I'm done with it, I don't really want that DoorDash. I don't want that snack anymore. And it's easy to do. Number 14, stop having lettuce lunches. I hate salads. I don't know why. It's probably my least favorite food. I hate lettuce for some reason. And I'm not saying you can't have it, but for lunch, quit barely eating anything at all, or the only thing that you eat is some sort of salad, croutons, and a dressing on top. Start loading up that salad with more than just that. Start loading up that salad with more vegetables in it. Start loading up that salad with some sort of whole grain in it. Start loading up that salad with maybe even some fruit. Start loading it up with a bunch of chicken, some protein. Stop eating the bare minimum when it comes to lunch. Just like breakfast, when you barely eat anything at all, you are going to crave more later in the day. Number 15, meal plan. I'm not saying you have to be meal prepping, although you can, and it is a good strategy. Maybe Sunday rolls around, you prepare all your lunches for the week, maybe all your breakfasts for the week, or whatever it is. But there's something else you could be doing, which is something called ingredient prepping. So you could prepare 3 different ingredients. If you're somebody who likes to have variety, maybe you prepare a ground beef, maybe you prepare some sort of turkey, or you prepare some sort of chicken, and then you have some grains. It could be a pasta, rice, and then you have a couple vegetables prepared, and then a couple fruits. So then you can kind of decide in the moment what you want to combine and make. Having some sort of plan or structure is going to make your likelihood of fat loss so much easier, because you aren't just randomly going home and then deciding, oh, I think I'm just going to have this today. It takes a lot of the emotion and the guesswork out of what you are doing. And let's be honest, when you plan things into your diet, you are way more likely to stick to it and then eat those things and have a consistent calorie deficit. Number 16, watch the commercial method. This is a method that I like to use if you are somebody who struggles with overeating. You sit down at night for dinner and you eat one entire plate, and a lot of times you eat so fast, you go back for seconds, grab another plate, and then eat the entire thing again. But what I want you to start doing and trying is, if you're somebody who struggles with overeating, is while you're watching your show, after you finish that first plate, take time and wait to watch that next commercial. During that time, you're gonna drink a bunch of water, and then you can go grab that second plate of food. Make that second plate a small plate. I'm gonna bet because you now have taken the time, drank some water, watched that commercial, you are now gonna feel more full. Your stomach needs time to feel full, and then send that signal to your brain to say, I am full. This helps slow down how fast you're eating, and I guarantee if you start doing this, you are going to eat a lot less, because most people just struggle on eating way too fast. Number 17, have the healthy snack first. If you want that half-baked Ben & Jerry's ice cream, which I think is the best flavor, what I want you to start doing is go for that healthy snack that pushes the needle forward first. And then after you have that, if you really want that Ben & Jerry's, then let yourself have it. But I'm gonna bet after you have that healthy snack, preferably try to make it high protein or high fiber, you aren't going to want that snack anymore. Like I said, drink some water, have the snack, give it 5-10 minutes, and then see if you want it. Most likely, you just were acting out of emotion. You just were craving something because your brain was telling you, because you're tying that emotion of a long, exhausting day of work, when in reality, you really weren't that hungry. And then if you had that snack, you start to feel a little full and realize, I don't need that anymore. Number 18, start the weekend on a positive note. Most people struggle with the weekends, barely get any steps, and eat probably way more than you probably should have. What I want you to start doing on the weekends, I'm not saying you have to go all out and go crazy, but every single morning, Saturday, Sunday, I want you to get up and start today with something positive. Maybe that's go get 3,000 steps. Maybe that's start with a workout. Start with a high protein breakfast. If you're able to do this, you are so much more likely to continue to create a positive effect the rest of the day. It's like the snowball effect. You have that little snowball, put it in the snow, and you push it down the hill, it starts to create momentum. You just need to start on a positive note to start the momentum, create it, and I guarantee you are so much more likely to continue to do positive things the rest of the day. It's a lot easier to make decisions, whereas if you sleep in late, you eat a terrible breakfast, you are now more likely to be like, screw it, I'm just gonna have whatever I want the rest of the day, and I'm just gonna chalk today up as a failure. Number 19, make a grocery list. Most people go to the store, walk down the aisle, and they look, oh, this looks good, I'm gonna try this, I want this. Start making a list and stick to that list. And if maybe if you are somebody who does struggle with snacking a bunch and you do grab a bunch of things, plan one in there to buy. Grab the Doritos and have one, but plan it into your grocery list. You are so much more likely to succeed when you have a set plan, a set things that you are getting. It's like the meal prepping idea that we talked about earlier. Not only will this allow you to make better choices, But when you make this grocery list, you are kind of forced to have to plan out your meals for the week. You're forced to plan out the breakfast, lunch, dinner, and now you have everything ready for the week instead of just going in with no plan. Number 20, eat boring. Eating these same foods every single day is fine. You're gonna find out that a lot of the healthy foods that you like are actually just boring. You end up eating the same exact foods every single day when you do this. It's not a bad thing to be eating the same foods every single day, especially like it takes a lot of the thought process out of what I want to do when I go to the grocery store, what I want for lunch, breakfast. Feel free to change it up with some variety, but there's nothing wrong with eating the same foods when in reality, you're actually gonna find out that's probably where you'll see the most success. These cheat codes are a great start to fat loss, but if you want an in-depth plan to start becoming unrecognizable with weight loss in literally just 90 days, then I'd recommend that you check this video out here.